Hello, this is Keith Lamott working on AI War 2. We're back after I took a break from the last recording to get it started on the YouTube upload. So now we're going to move on to revising the build menu. I should go ahead and show you the current state of that. I would say that you probably don't want to see the current state because it's so ugly. But what I'm revising it to is not necessarily going to be any prettier. It's just going to be more usable. So right now, you can press 1 to select your arc, or you can just click your arc, 3 to build. For one thing, it's kind of all over the place. But you got your queue down here. This is what your actually, no, the queue's up here. This is kind of bizarre. The queue is up here with the button for pausing or running the loop, and then the button for setting it to loop or not loop. Then here's the tabs, which are the different sort of types of things you can build. And then, like, if you notice here, there can be multiple mark levels for the same thing. Now, in some cases, it just stacks them up because they're kind of related. And like, there would be multiple marks of these, and if you had the tech for them. Same over here with the fighters. And then pattern is just something that's totally different. that engages a script that dumps a bunch of turrets on your planet. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to move the tabs back down here, where they were more or less before, and then put the individual ship types above that, and then the different marks that you can pick above that, or the different sub items anyway. They may not all be different marks, and they might be related items. Like here, you can see that the mass converter and the auxiliary reactor and the middle synthesizer and so on, those are all in a group, but they're not just different marks of the same unit. And so tab, type, mark, and then click the mark, and then it gives you the thing to place with. And then I want to put the queue over here, vertically, with the run, pause, and loop, do not loop control. That way it's not so confusing when you're sitting there looking at this. You're thinking, are these buttons to build things? Or are these things that are being built? You actually can use it to increase your or decrease your queue, but they're very different buttons, and so you can't really tell that right now. Another thing that would be great to do while we're at it is to put the ship icons instead of the text. At least instead of most of the text. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull that off today, but what I saw yesterday from Chris's code is that we can embed icons in the UI text. It's just a question of whether I can find the right icon. So that's what we're aiming to do. Another thing is I want to make it so that those different rows of buttons continue the protocol for like the 1 to 0, the 1 to 9 basically, controls, so that you can type your way to a Mark II laser turret if that's what you want to do. Some of you will like doing that, some of you won't. That's fine. Try to make it so that both types of people can get it done. Okay, so one thing is this means kind of breaking up the build menu. Instead of being one big window, it's going to be multiple different windows. So we're going to copy the big window and make this into tab menu. Oh, I don't want the CS. No. Okay. Give me a break. I guess I see how that happens. Okay, what's going on here? Alright. Finally. Seems like that should not have been that difficult. So, and I think that the tab menu will retain a lot of what was there, because it's going to have a lot of the data that's relevant. Excuse me. All the data that's going to be relevant to the whole process. Okay, so yeah, it's got the thing for getting the entity that's building, because you can't have a build menu without some entity that's doing the building. Yeah, the grid is not going to be here. The queue is not going to be here. The toggles are not going to be here. The menu selection will be here. And so we're going to create a... Well, because we're going to leave the existing build menu there for right now while we work on this. We'll take it out later. This is going to be a lot different dimension-wise than it was. So, what's it most similar to? So there's the command menu. Where's the commands menu? Okay. It's going to go above the commands menu. And yeah, I think a height of 3 is correct. So it's going to go above that. I don't think we have to do much else to change where it goes. Before related, I think that's correct. It's not going to have those things. Because it was going to have these things. And then the last thing we need to change for making this testable, this first part testable, I'm not going to do much else. So we want, let's make sure that we're replacing all the, yeah, replace all the references to this thing. Just everywhere where the old one was being used, I wanted to use the new one. Okay. I think we're there. Okay, looks like there's some more errors, some more warnings. Some nanocost warnings. Yeah, I'm not going to worry too much. It's just some things that are not currently being used. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll recheck the ones for a bit further along and are actually using some of those things it says that we're not using. Okay, so alright, that put them where I wanted them to go. Now that's gonna, yeah, it's not gonna work. Because it's not opening the rest of the menu, because the rest of the menu isn't defined yet. But I think it put things where I want them, which is good. Alright, so next we want a type menu. Oh, there is one thing though I want to make sure works. Let's comment that out. And before we move on, I'm sure it doesn't work right now. So supports master menu keys. Yeah, this should be pretty simple for me to add. I just want to make sure it works. It is kind of the basis of the idea that this will be more usable than the other thing. No, aside from being laid out in a way that's less unintuitive. You can tell I have great confidence in my interface design, don't you? Okay, so yeah. Now there's the 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. By the way, if some of you actually like using those number keys, say so. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe I'm the only one who likes to control those things using the number keys. I am kind of crazy. So I got the type menu. I'm just going to call them selection row. And actually, I'm going to go back and change this one too. I kind of want to make it more generic since I'm not having multiple of the same thing. Yeah, actually, I'm going to just call them items. And be item. Okay. And we're going to have a mark menu. It may or may not be used every time. Okay. And yeah, these will each go above the one previous. And I can do that without having to mess around with the coordinates at all, which I like. Alright. Now let's go and copy this twice. Actually, I'm gonna do this sort of a cascade. Okay. Do a little bit of renaming here. But we're not actually going to hold on to... Yeah, I think I'll leave this out for now. We'll see. Gotta play it by ear here. I'm not sure what things are used and what things are not. Okay, so that's actually static. Okay. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of things that are private that need to be made public now. Although I don't necessarily want to. Yeah, I don't want to be doing this part here. Or this part. I'll do if not. Yeah, this code is already in the parent one. Okay, so I don't want to replicate all this stuff from tab. Excuse me. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to clone some of this though. Well, maybe I'll be able to get away with it. It's been a while since I wrote this, so I'm kind of getting a little bit by rote. And so you actually want to copy some of the stuff from... Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, I don't I don't want exactly the example of the tabs, and I don't want exactly the example of the grids, because I want the layout of the tabs and the content of the grids, and they're not the same. Okay. One more line. Okay, so Yeah, no, actually I want that. I'm having it reference the parent window. So I'm just gonna make all these public, honestly. I suspect I don't need them all. So, oh, I see. Current menu unless that's a little strange. That wasn't my best code. Alright, so. We want to get the type of the button. This is what was in the grid before. So we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. Okay, yeah, that's fair. We may wind up changing it, but it's fair. Yeah, so this is not actually exactly what we want, because it's just going to build. It's going to do the direct building. It's not going to open up the type thing. So one thing we want to do is make this less clever. Instead of it doing a two-dimensional thing, it's just going to make it back into a one-dimensional. So basically, here's the column, and so if column count is empty, then just skip it, I guess. Otherwise, we're going to just show the first thing in the column. Now, that's not going to work if for some reason the first thing in the column is not something you don't have the tech for. Yeah, so actually what I want is a little bit closer to the other. It needs to loop, but it just needs to break. We're only showing one. So as soon as it gets to the first one that it can get to, it's done. And this doesn't, strictly speaking, matter anymore, but I'll leave it for now. Alrighty. So, yeah, I don't want it to have a Y offset at all. But the rest of this looks okay. I'm going to leave the behavior of this as it is. Yeah, the behavior will set that. I mean, we're going to change the behavior, but so we want to change this to. I'm going to change the click behavior. Okay, we want to keep doing that. I want type menu instance show or open. What did I call it? Okay. Let me double check to make sure that this is doing what I want it to do. So I kind of want this to be a toggling controller. It's not, but that's not exactly what I want though. Yeah, but it's specialized enough that I do want to make it work that way. So. Okay. Well, there's not going to be an instance because it has more than one. You may have noticed I use this instance thing, the static instance thing a lot. It's just a singleton pattern. Probably not a very good one, but it generally works. Now, name is not exactly what I want it to do. Well, really, exactly what I want it to do is an icon. So. Okay, I think that should do it. Ooh, I come back and actually comment out that mark level 1. So we're not there yet. This is probably going to die horribly. Okay, it didn't do quite what I wanted it to do. Yeah, the toggle thing is messed up. Bizarre. But it didn't die exactly. That's usually remarkably favorable. Yeah, and actually this is Not entirely happy with this. So if menu index is tab menu, then buffer add. Okay. Well, that'll help a little bit. But then there's a question of why it's not actually opening the other thing. Did I mess up in the display? No, it should be showing above that. Yeah, this is probably not ever getting set. Yeah, so, yeah, this is one of the situations where I didn't quite know what I was doing when I wrote this, and now it's showing. Like, why are we checking the index there? Yeah, I need to kind of rationalize this a bit better. So I'm going to move that up to the type. Why is it doing that? I'd much rather have it just do that here. Yeah, there may be some reason for like threading purposes. I can't do this. Oh, no, this isn't a big deal. Okay. There. I have no idea why this is static, except to avoid the instance. So let's do the same thing here. Sorry, I'm being really quiet. There's just a lot of text replacing here to do. And, yeah, this shouldn't really happen. They somehow got out of range. But if it got out of range, I want to clear them both. And I do want to stick with using the last one on this class rather than the current one in the other, because in case they somehow change while this is running. That shouldn't happen, but I've been surprised. The multi-threaded nature of this game is much more so than just about anything else we've done. Okay, so we're going to set this to -1. So I don't want it to ignore the first one because it's so because it just starts out as being 0. All right, so what's here? Because now I want to make it so that whenever it closes, beyond showing refused. I think this is what I want. So I want the last been used. Just clear that. All right, so. Okay, now we're ready for another test. Yeah. UI aside, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on making the actual game scenarios feel more varied. Not just having all the AI units in the middle of every planet. At some point, I actually thought that was a good idea, and I'm kind of mystified as to why. Okay, so yeah, that needs to be type then. Oh, it works. Okay, I just pressed Alt in those numbers a lot, so that should actually completely stop production, and I'm going to start missile corvette production again. So there's more missile corvettes, there's more missile corvettes. Okay, the buttons work. And they respond to the number keys. Excellent. Not done with that, but that's a good start. So yeah, 1, 3, 3. Okay, yeah, it's not showing the numbers. It needs to show the numbers. Yeah, I can build needler turrets, hold down shift, just plunk those down, switch to 3 for some MLRS turrets. 5, get some plasmas down. Or not, I guess. Maybe it's, why aren't those going down? Oh, no, that one didn't go down, okay. Okay, so, and then, how about no, 0 beam cannons. Yeah, it shouldn't use 0. One thing I'm going to deal with is, okay, what do we do if we have more than 9 options for a given tab? Well, the real answer is don't do that. But it may be necessary to have some kind of pagination. But that's just going to make things take longer and longer to get to, and I don't think that's good. Anyway, it is really hard to get those off each cursor. That's another thing I've got down to fix. Anyway, it's so far so good. So one thing we noticed is that this thing needs to be What was it that wasn't showing the numbers? Was it that? Sorry, I should have made a note or something, but... Yeah, it's been a long day. It's been a long week. Just kind of tired. So 3, or 1, 3. Okay, yeah, so the tabs aren't showing. They're showing that, but not the... Oh, yeah, that's duh. They're not showing the numbers because I didn't tell them to show the numbers. Yeah, we really do need that. Tricky. What I want is really close to the toggling, but it's different because this time we've got multiple buttons that toggle the same thing. That's not normally what it's supposed to do. Alright, so... like virtual bool get should suppress open indicator even if toggled window is shown. Basically saying, okay, there's actually multiple toggles that go to the same thing. And now normally this is not the case. Toggle window is shown. This get related controller is open. If this false. Okay, so this allows me to extend this and say on a per button basis, don't actually show this after all. They don't actually consider this to be open after all. Let's go ahead and put that here. Yeah. Override. Alright, so if menu index is not equal to tab menu instance correct, okay, then return true, else return false. So it'll suppress it if the menu index doesn't match up. And now we'll do so base get text to show buffer. That way we'll inherit all that nice behavior, but have that change that we want. I don't think I really want to do a full retest just for that. So let's move on to the mark menu. Which will be very similar to the type menu. In some ways, it'll be more like the type menu than the type menu will be once we're done, because I'm going to remove a lot of that functionality for actually triggering the build events, and leave it on the mark level, and change the type level to just open the mark level. Alright. Last type index. I don't have a current type index here. That will be set here. May as well go ahead and set it. Yeah. Okay, so type menu. It's equivalent to the column, basically. Which I'll go ahead and just call the type index. Is that what I want? Yeah, that's what I want. I'm actually going to go ahead and call it the column index. It's not going to make sense from the way it's going to look to the players after this, but it will make sense in terms of the underlying XML data. I'm not really planning to change the schema. Alright, so yeah, instead of going off the menu index of the grandparent window, we'll go off the type index of the parent window. Still using the entity data from the grandparent. Though this is still relevant. There's a degree of duplication here as it's loading the menus in both places. Makes me wonder if I just need to have the menu reference stored at the parent level. But not for now. Alright, so now I want to do if mark menu is greater than menu columns. Yeah. And so if it's out of bounds for the columns list, then we want to set it to 0 and do the same thing at the type menu level. Alright, otherwise we want to, well, in either case, we want to get the column there. I don't think those can be null. So, although apparently I was checking that one, so. No, actually, no, these can't be null. These could theoretically be null if the data was loaded in a weird way. It's because of a data error. Alright, so Let's show item count. Making this more like the other one. So yeah, these indexes are still important because they tell the build command what thing to build. Because it's still looking at the 2D grid of the data out of the window. And so yeah, this is actually going to pretty much do exactly what it does now. Okay. Alright, let's go back over here. I want to prune this down some. Yeah, basically all of this is just going to go away. Is this being used at all? Kind of. It won't be. It will kind of. Okay, that's not being used. And that I know is being used. I was just using it. Alright. Now you want to take the same pattern here with the toggling controller. And implement that abstract class. And what we want to open there is the mark menu. Okay, and then some special behavior here that we need to handle. As we saw before, this isn't exactly the pattern of a toggling button controller because there's more than one different button doing the toggling. What order did I put that in? That was before. Okay, that's good. So we want item column index is not equal to type menu. Alright. So have I got the constructor thing? Yep, I got that. I got the suppression code. Yeah, I want to have a call to base handle click so it does the actual toggle of the window after it sets that index variable. Alright. Double check the XML. Looks good, it's saved. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, I want to build turrets, I want to build needler turrets, I want to build Mark 1 needle turrets. Okay, let's try that again. I mean, look more or less right, but see, I want to build turrets, I want to build MLRS turrets. Okay, Okay, nothing on the cursor. And I want to build Mark 1 milli. Okay. Yeah. Now it's arguable whether or not it should just go ahead and select it automatically if there's only the one. But my argument would be that we want the keyboard shortcuts to be consistent with what it's going to be later in the game when you've unlocked more, theoretically. Maybe you never do, but... Now, one question here is, why is this over here and not... I think it was probably a pretty simple fix for that. I'm happy to see that basically it worked. Okay, yeah, show an item count just needs to increment it down here instead. That was pretty simple. Alright, so now let's address a little bit of cleanup. Well, it's not quite time for cleanup because we haven't added the queue. I'm just thinking some of these are probably during the warnings. Alrighty. The queue. Not to be confused with the Star Trek character. I don't think we've had anything quite that obnoxious in this game. Though, Astro Trains, they're pretty bad. Alright, so, what are we going to do? I'll just copy the mark menu, not because it has anything to do with the queue, but just because it's probably one of the simpler ones. Oh, I guess type, at this point, type is a simpler class. Alright. Yeah. Don't do that. Alright, so, that's... Whoa. How'd that happen? Okay. Okay. You can drop the angry red now. Is that present in both levels? Yes, it is. Good. Alright, so... well, before we delete stuff, I mean, we don't need this. That much is clear. Yeah, this is more like the tab menu thing. Although it's got all that extra junk, I don't want to deal with that. Okay, XML-wise. Alright, so... to remember the syntax for put it on the bottom of the screen. So it's not quite on the bottom of the screen, that's true. Yeah, it won't really be. It can't even go down to one of the lower menus. It's got to leave space for all of them. So the thing is, there might be any number of these may be actually present. Tab will always be there, but type menu might be there and mark menu might be there. So we want it to be above all of those. Okay, and we've actually got some extra buttons that we need to do. Well, yeah, I think I'm just gonna let them all be vertical. We might do a layout differently for the loop control and the pause control later, but it won't hurt too much to have them be just part of the items for now, because that's how they are in the original. In the way I had it, not the original game. That's a different thing. Oh, actually, that's pretty much where they were in the original game too. Oh well. So collapse this back down. Copy these things in. That's BBS items. Helps if I can spell. It's kind of interesting how the default acronym for a button set in my UI architecture is BS. There's a degree of truth to that. Okay. So I'm pretty much just going to take whatever is in the tab menu. That's where I've got the stuff. And maybe it could be moved down here, I don't know. But, was there nothing there? Okay. Alright, so now let's see to the placement of things. Now this is not going to be a master menu window, because it's going to be shown in parallel with other things that are master menus, or master menu keys. Although that's just a fancy word for the 1 to 9 thing. I do need to deal with that, not having enough spaces. Alright, so yeah, running X is actually going to be running Y. Yeah, and these will be bigger than most, I guess. Yeah, they kind of, just to be honest, they will be. So we'll see how it goes. Just flipping it from the x-axis to the y-axis. The nice thing is, I think, to a large extent, we're there. We have even more warnings than we had before, which isn't great. We should check what those are. Yeah, one of the difficulties is that when I do the external mono build, it generates its own warnings, which VS won't recognize as double clickable things to take you there. I guess it's actually not. I'm guessing because it's not convinced that it knows which source file it came from. so I guess that's not used. Um, 45, this is not used either? Okay. Yeah, interesting, huh? Okay, let's see what that does. I mean, the warnings aren't really a big deal, but sometimes they'll reveal a serious, okay, the Q. Sometimes they reveal a typo that's like, oh boy, that's not going to do what I want. 37, okay. Alright, I think that's all of it for now. Okay, so alright. Turrets. Miser. Okay. Wait, where is the Q? Oh, that's right, the Q is toggleable. So basically, yeah, I just need to put in logic to tell it window I show the Q. This is actually not supposed to be toggleable, basically. So, like, let's look at them. It's a good example of a this is not a toggleable, this is just one of these. Yeah, one tiny little thing that probably will never matter. Yeah, it's a little redundant, but it'll probably just look, it'll probably be so cramped with those sizings. I don't know. Maybe it'll actually, it should be the same. But not entirely. Let's say 1, 3, and kaboom! We get to have a nice, lovely crash. Really? Okay. Oh, yeah. I can guess. Final pause. On update. Yep, it's using the old type. So good to know that the type safety is alive and well. I would not want the common language runtime or the mono runtime or whatever this thing is to let me get away with that. I would much rather that I get big nasty red warning messages or error messages in the midst of my tests. That is why I program in C#, so it will tell me these things. And it's also less idealistic than Java. Though I have been known to turn to Java when C# is not available. Okay, well, you don't have to keep throwing those messages, by the way. Yeah, you don't have to get carried away. Oh, no, I don't want the build menu. I want the queue menu. Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I suppose that would help. Yeah, I try to avoid casts in general, because I'd actually rather encounter those big nasty error messages at compile time. But sometimes things are not quite that flexible in the static analysis or in the static code model. There's only so far you can take generic types before they just get really weird. Okay, so it sticks them all the way over here, which is actually more or less what I told it to do. So I want it to be X align maximum within parent. That just tells it put as far to the right as you can. Maximum is right, minimum is left. And if you're on the y-axis, then maximum is the bottom, and minimum is the top. Seemed like it was showing early. Well, let's just test it and see what happens. Alright, so yeah, I mean, this should be fine. Well, let's see what it's doing. Alright, so 3. Okay, that's not what I want you to do. You're putting it in the wrong place. You're also going too far down. Although it's probably doing that. Yeah. Why not fix one of those problems? I can go in the right direction. Which is what I wanted it to do anyway. Yeah, we want... Yeah, basically we want Y to go up. So, why is X align not... I shouldn't have to align the individual elements. I'm not having to do that for the other stuff. So... looking for that little version notice, because I know it's right aligned. Yeah, X align maximum within parent. So it's like, okay, what's the problem? I mean, it's not, I'm not having to change those individually. sure what to say. I'd kind of like to just go ahead and put a hack in and get this sorted out. So, width minus elements type button width. It should be doing this already, but oh, okay. So overall X. Maybe there's some weird interaction with button sets in X align, but not Y align. Because it works on Y line. That's where that button, the bottom bar is there. The bottommost bar is not relative to another window. It's just using maximum within parent, and it works just fine with 0 offset. One, 3. Okay, it put them somewhere, but didn't put them. Okay. I think I have an idea what it might be. Yeah, okay, I got it. It was just it was making the maximum within parent, but it was assuming that it was the width of the whole screen, and so it put it it put it where I told it to. Problem existed between keyboard and chair. Okay, so now it should be back to running smoothly and wonderfully just like I designed it, right? There's an element of sarcasm there. Okay, 1, 3. Okay, there's the queue. Okay, so it's got the running, but no loop button. I'm guessing the loop button got snagged in there somewhere. But the buttons work. That's good. And it'll kind of go up as the thing expands. 3. And you see, that's why it has to go all the way up there, because otherwise it's running into it. Although there shouldn't be 10 items, so it should actually go down to just the bottom bar, which I'm going to have it do. That way it's not jumping around. Okay, let's take a look at that build menu so we can resolve the problem of there being so many. It's not going to solve the problem of there being so many fleet ship types. Yeah, so there's just one too many turret types right now. And these are already just the, like, shooty bang bang turrets. Let's call these heavy defenses. I don't know. Heavy turrets. I'm gonna do something else. Heavy defenses. The abbreviation should be shorter. But so we'll put minefields and fortresses over here. Yeah, and the numbers are gonna change a lot depending on what things you've got unlocked. The numbers you use. To type things in. I'm not quite sure what to do about that. So I don't want to have pages for every single thing you might have, unless you actually have them all. Shadow generator is actually pretty important. I'm going to put them there. Although having families of units might make more sense. I just don't want to have it's like sparsely populated tabs, but maybe I need to. Yeah, I think we're just going to call this defense. I think there actually was a defense tab in the original one. Okay, I'm back. I just got interrupted. Sorry about that. So... yeah, we're trying to... I tried to just change this heavy defense to defense. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to have turrets and then defense, but for now it'll do. We can change the display name later. Not the internal name, incidentally. Not that. That's gonna stay. Right, so... I want to find everywhere where it's doing that. So yeah, the controller can do const units. And the Iirc can do that. And the flagships can do that. Yeah, so there's a bunch of flagship types. I'll lose my place looking at this. Okay. That'll split up the turret stuff. What else was I thinking to do? I think that's pretty much it. I think I'm forgetting something, so let me run one more test and see if I remember. Okay. Oh yeah, that button is not there. So, I don't really understand why. And the offset is being set. Let's see. Yeah, because it's showing this one, but not showing that one. Oh, I think I see it. It needs to be going. It's a bit of a hack. Actually, there's a simpler way of doing this. First, we're going to close this window. Okay, we're gonna decrement the size before we go up. Oh, is that what I want? Not really. Basically, I think the simplest hack here is just this. Next button is full size. And not the best way to do it, but it gets it done for now, I think. We'll see. Okay. Aside from my Bandcamp or Bandicam, yeah. So can change the looping to not looping. Yeah, if you kill the loop, it's just all of a sudden gone because it burns through it so fast. And so I could restart the loop. It is kind of annoying to have to back up to go back into the other thing. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, if I want to do bombers and fighters, I have to do 2, 1, back, 1, 1. You know, that's not so great. Just not sure what else to do there. I know it would be true once you had multiple marks anyway. So we'll see. Anyway, I think that we've basically achieved the goal for the layout change. There's the icon thing. I'm not sure what to do about that right now. I think that's going to be another day. But let's go ahead and get this in. We did the build menu layout to be more consistent with the layers of bars on the bottom approach, where the first layer lets you pick the tab you want to build from. The second layer lets you pick the type of ship/unit you want to build. And the third layer lets you pick the mark/variant, the specific you actually want to be queued up or loaded onto the mouse cursor for direct placement. The queue display itself has been moved to the right hand side of the screen and laid out vertically to visually distinguish, visually and spatially distinguish it from your build menu. Each of these layers now fully responds to the 1 to 9 keys, like other menus. You can quickly order your, so for example, you can quickly order your Iirc to build needler turrets. A Mark 1 needler. Build. Yeah, I feel like that sort of thing. Okay. There's that. Yeah, the old build menu code is still there. Oh, you see, it's trying to mess up my little project file here. So I'm actually going to revert that, and I'm going to tell it, no, use the star thing that I told you to use. Okay, it's just a rename of the tab thing. Another rename. Another rename. It's just a rename of the main class used for build menu. And this is adding the suppression of the open indicator to toggles when multiple toggles for the same window are visible. There's the XML splitting out the beam cannon and other stuff from those build menus. There's the addition of the new build menu in each of these. And here's the XML definitions for the new windows. Then here's the directory with the new windows and the windows themselves. Okay, I think we're good. So I'll make a note, convert build menu buttons to icons with whatever text is needed in addition. Also tech menu and redo, so redo layout, add in do text to icon conversion. It's gonna mean tooltips probably. Alright. So thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting this project. I'm gonna wrap up. See you later.